about what's going on, the decision.
Adrian N. Breitfelder, City Clerk, you are hereby directed to call a regular session of the City Council to be held on Monday, March 21st, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. in the historic Federal Building for the purpose of conducting such business that may properly come before the City Council.
Thank you. Good evening, and welcome to a regular session of the Dubuque City Council for March 21st, 2022. As a reminder to our participants, you can provide in-person input or virtual audio and written input during the sections of the agenda where public input is accepted. Input options during the live meeting include: in-person attendees may approach the podium when the mayor asks if there is any public input on the item they would like to speak to. Remote attendees can log into GoToMeeting using the login links, phone numbers, and access code that appear on the broadcast and live stream and posted on the front page of the meeting agenda. This option includes audio input and written chat input. If you are participating via computer, indicate which item you would like to speak to in the chat function, or note that you would like to speak during the appropriate section. If you are participating via phone, indicate which item you would like to speak to when phone lines are unmuted. All phone lines will be unmuted during the consent agenda, public hearings, and public input periods, and city staff will determine the speaking order of the participants. All comments, whether in person or virtual, must be accompanied by a name and address. Additionally, written public input is accepted by contacting the City Council directly from the city's webpage at www.cityofdubuque.org/councilcontacts and through the City Clerk's office email at ctyclerk@cityofdubuque.org. This information will be reiterated during the meeting. Attendance for the session is as follows: Mayor Kavanaugh,
Here.
Council members Farber,
Here?
Jones,
Here.
Resnick,
Here.
Roussel,
Here.
Sprank,
Here.
City Manager Van Milligan,
Here.
City Attorney Brumwell.
Here.
Thank you. Mayor Kavanaugh, I will turn it over to you for the Pledge of Allegiance.
And thank you, Adrian. For all those who are able, please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Adrian.
Next on the agenda are proclamations, and our first proclamation is World Down Syndrome Day.
All right, and I see we have Kyle Stumpf here to accept this proclamation this evening. Good evening, Kyle.
Good evening, Mayor Kavanaugh, and I believe esteemed council members. My name is Kyle Stumpf. I am a member of the Dubuque County Disabilities Council. Thank you for recognizing the contributions that people with Down syndrome make to our community.
Well, thank you so much, Kyle, for being here to accept this proclamation this evening. We're so glad to see you again. City of Dubuque proclamation. Whereas approximately 1 in every 700 children are born with Down syndrome, representing an estimated 6,000 births per year in the United States. And whereas there are over 400,000 individuals living with Down syndrome in the United States. And whereas while research and early intervention have resulted in dramatic improvements in the lifespan and potential of those who have Down syndrome, More efforts to fully accept, include, and celebrate people with Down syndrome are needed in communities across the world. And whereas, possessing a wide range of abilities, people with Down syndrome are and should be active participants in educational, competitive integrated employment, social, community engagement, and recreational circles of our communities. And whereas, individuals with Down syndrome should have equal opportunity to achieve the universally desired goals of self-fulfillment, pride in their achievements, inclusion in their community, and reaching their fullest potential. And whereas local service and support organizations help families and individuals with Down syndrome to navigate school experiences, access to healthcare, private and government resources, and natural supports to help create opportunities, raise awareness, and facilitate solutions for these valued members of our community. Now, therefore, I, Brad M. Kavanaugh, Mayor of the City of Dubuque, Iowa, on behalf of the City Council, staff, and the citizens of Dubuque, do hereby proclaim the 21st of March, 2022 as World Down Syndrome Day in the City of Dubuque, Iowa, in support of individuals with Down syndrome, as well as their families, advocates, researchers, and medical professionals. I encourage all residents of the City of Dubuque to work together to promote respect and inclusion of individuals with Down syndrome and to celebrate their accomplishments and contributions.
Good going, Kyle.
And our next proclamation is Honeybee Day.
All right, and I see H.R. Cook is here to accept this proclamation.
I tell you right now, I wish I'd gone first. Give them my proclamation too. H.R. Cook, 16293 Country View Drive here in Dubuque. Thank you very much for having us here. I'm representing both the Iowa Honey Producers Association, where I'm District 6 Director for Northeast Iowa, and also a member of the Swiss Valley Bee Club, which has approximately about 75 members inside the county in the Tri-States area. Honeybee Day was established by Governor Kim Reynolds for March 30th to help recognize what the pollinators of honeybees do and the crops that they help produce and help to pollinate and for our foods that we eat and everything that we grow. And really, it's important, especially for the city of Dubuque, because the city of Dubuque allows urban beekeeping. And there's a lot of communities in the state and around the country that still do not allow the pollinators to raise bees in their backyard. Urban beekeepers, we have about 50 of them inside the city limits. You don't hear anything about them because they just kind of keep to themselves. And even though bees are livestock, they're the only livestock that does not have fences. So they are out and about pollinating your flowers and your crops and keeping your flowers and your yards beautiful. We ask that for those who wish this spring, because the bees will be emerging soon, please don't pull your dandelions or kill your dandelions, because that's the first food that the bees consume to get them going in the spring, because they've had a hard winter in their hives. And to remember that it's usually not the honeybees that are the ones that are stinging you. They're all females, and those are usually the wasps and the hornets that bother you. But on behalf of the Iowa Honey Producers Association and the Swiss Valley Bee Club, we thank you very much for this proclamation and hope everybody will enjoy some honey products during the coming weeks.
Well, thank you very much for being here to accept this proclamation, HR, and thanks for all the great information. City of Dubuque proclamation. Whereas honeybees and native insects are important as pollinators for a third of the food we eat, honeybees are vital in production of over 90 crops grown across the nation, many of which are in Iowa. Honeybees contribute to a healthy Iowa environment by assuring the availability of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and flowers for wildlife and all Iowans. And whereas Iowa's 45,000 or more honeybee hives produce about 4 million pounds of honey, valued at over $8 million, and honeybees provide an estimated $92 million of economic value to Iowa crops from their pollination. And whereas honeybees face serious threats from invasive pests and disease, decreasing bee-friendly habitat, variable climate, and pesticide and herbicide pressure. And whereas the City of Dubuque encourages and promotes many types of urban pollination programs with grants, classes, and clubs. It is estimated there are over 30 urban beekeepers in the City of Dubuque whose bees are pollinating many types of trees, plants, flowers, and other blooming flora throughout the spring, summer, and fall. Now therefore, I, Brad M. Kavanaugh, Mayor of the City of Dubuque, Iowa, on behalf of the City Council, staff, and the citizens of Dubuque, do hereby proclaim the 31st of March, 2022 as Honeybee Day in the City of Dubuque, Iowa, and encourage all citizens, residents, and visitors to join in observing this day and focusing on the importance of honeybees to our state and local economy, to enjoy the honey and other products of the hive, to recognize the honeybee's role in maintaining our local environment, and to assist in reducing the threats to honeybee survival in our state. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Okay, Adrian.
We'll move on to consent items. At this time, anyone participating in the meeting in person who would like to discuss one of the consent items, please approach the podium when the mayor asks if there is any in-person input and state your name and address. For all remote attendees, please enter your name and address in the chat function or state your name and address over the phone when the mayor asks if there is any virtual input. If more than one participant would like to speak, then city staff will determine the speaking order of the participants. Please state the item you would like removed from the consent agenda for separate discussion and consideration. And consent items can be found on pages 2 through 5 of the agenda.
Okay, thank you, Adrian. Is there anyone in chambers who would like to hold one of the items for separate discussion on the consent agenda?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Paul Schultz, and I reside at 2700 Matthew John Drive. And I would like to pull the item 17 on the consent agenda for discussion.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schultz. All right, anyone else, either in person or virtually?
Mr. Mayor, I'll just acknowledge that Mr. Schultz did provide some supporting documentation related to consent item number 17 around the time of our work session, and that has been forwarded to the City Council.
Oh, thank you.
There are no online comments.
No other online comments. Okay, bring it back to the table then.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Resnick.
I move to receive and file the documents, adopt the resolutions, and deal with the consent items as recommended, except for number 17.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Resnick, a second by Mr. Jones. Adrian, would you call the roll, please?
Resnick,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Roussel. Aye. Farber. Aye. Sprank.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Move on to number 17 then, Mr. Schultz. You can go ahead and get us started.
Try to find where to set this stuff.
Paul, there's a.
So,
Actually, Mr. Schultz, there's a pullout on the side there.
okay, there we go, that's good. So, I support, expansion of automated side loading. I support expansion of voluntary tipper carts. What I don't, support is that we move this too fast, before we have a plan. There isn't a plan. Years ago, there was supposed to be a 10-year solid waste management plan created by 2022. That has not happened. So the fundamental principle here is to get this right before we make a massive investment. So the issues are systemic with this. Part of it is, it may seem that this issue is about collecting anything that's set out at the curb. That's solid waste collection. That is not resource management. Resource management is what the program was established and named. It's different than just picking up anything that's at the curb as efficiently as you can. Resource management is built on the foundational principle of pay as you throw. So it's not just about education that people ought to be recycling or composting or, doing different things with they don't need anymore, which are their discards. It's really about establishing incentives for people to waste less. And some of those incentives are financial. So over the last, basically, I think it's 8 or 10 years, the lowest fee for the lowest volume generator was at $10.72. Now it's at $15.38, which is a 70% increase in the cost to the lowest volume generator, but the tipper carts did not change in rate. They dropped slightly. This erodes a fundamental principle in pay-as-you-throw, and it also is not fair. These are some of the principles of pay-as-you-throw, which I was sent as soon as I was hired to learn how to do pay-as-you-throw because we weren't performing adequately in the state. So it needs to be fair. It needs to be self-supporting. It needs to bring environmental benefits, and it needs to lead toward less waste. But in the last 8 years, the recycling tonnage or percentage of everything that's picked up at the curb has dropped 41%. The landfill materials have gone up 10%. This is not in the right alignment. And our policies in the Imagine Dubuque 2037 and in the Climate Action Plan set targets of how we should be measuring performance of more than how efficiently we pick things up at the curb. So bigger carts, in my own observation, oftentimes do not have recycling containers or recycling tipper carts next to them. We have not done an analytical study, but I would bet anybody in this room $100 if we go to 100 larger tipper carts compared to the smaller containers that are around the city, that there'll be more recyclables in those bigger tipper carts than there is in those smaller other containers. So we need good actionable data, and that means we need planning. So those are some of the ideas that I fed into the two meetings of the regional, the Resilient Community Advisory Commission meeting. We need to get on the same page. And right now, I don't feel that we're on the same page. We need to take a step back. The other piece that's raised is a question of funding. As I mentioned, a pay-as-you-throw program is self-funded, and so is a municipal utility, because private sector can't get $1 million to help them buy tipper carts for their customers. And that's what we should be following, the same standard. Also, if we even were allowed to use it, is this the best use of $1 million? It doesn't seem to connect to the standards stated by the Treasury Department, the 4 standards of what is acceptable. So I think there's a lot of elements here that we need to take a deeper look at. And I think we can do that. And if it comes out how we can do this proper hybrid system to expand and not necessarily force all people that may not even get automated side loader collection and just have a very small container of stuff that they're needing to send to the landfill, we ought to be making accommodation, because that's a truer sense of pay-as-you-throw. I'll leave it there if there's other questions here or at some other time. And I'll certainly be here on Wednesday to talk a little bit more specific on some other actual line items in the budgets of where these things should be. The other piece is, in the maintenance budget, there's an item under replacement equipment, $652,000 for trash tipper carts. Well, we don't even have that much value in tipper carts out there right now. So what are we replacing? This looks like it's a lean toward automated collection, but that decision has not been made by this council or a previous council. I'm for expanding it, but not mandatory, and not mandatory carts. So that, in that maintenance budget, violates the rules that I followed for 18 years of what you can put in there. And neither would it have federal funds in there, either, the ARPA funds. So these are some critical elements that I think should be sorted out before we go and approve something. Some type of expansion is needed, I agree. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Paul, for your comments. I appreciate it. I think you're, from what I'm understanding from what you're saying here, you're kind of kicking us off for the discussion that we're going to continue on Wednesday as well, related to this letter that was given to us by the Resilient Community Advisory Commission tonight. So we appreciate your input on that.
That affected that decision by the commission that relates to you and is giving you their professional judgment.
All right. Well, thank you. So with that in mind, knowing that this discussion will continue, I will open it up for any questions or discussion if anybody has any first, and we can go from there.
Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor, I
Ms.
just
Farmer.
want to thank Paul for joining us tonight and kind of refreshing our memories about the commission and the letter that they did write, supporting some of the comments that you did make. And I do believe that we will look forward to a conversation on Wednesday with some robust attention. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Farber. Any other questions or discussion right now?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Jones?
I then move to receive and file and refer to staff all the documents and include Mr. Schultz's written submissions.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Jones to receive and file, a second by Mr. Resnick. Adrian, would you call the roll, please?
Resnick.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Roussel.
Aye.
Farber.
Aye.
Sprank.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
We will move on to items set for public hearing, and we have 4. First is the 2022 Asphalt Overlay Ramp Project 2 for April 4th, 2022. Second is Wilbrook Lane Detention Basin Project for April 4th, 2022. Third is Stoneman Road Reconstruction Project for April 18th, 2022. And fourth is set public hearing date for fiscal year 2023 city budget and operating and capital improvement program for March 29th, 2022.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Roussel.
I move to receive and file the documents, adopt the resolutions, and set the public hearings for the dates listed.
Second by Farber.
I have a motion by Ms. Roussel, second by Ms. Farber. Adrian, would you call the roll, please?
Resnick.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Roussel.
Aye.
Farber.
Aye.
Sprank.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
We will move on to boards and commissions, and we have boards and commissions applicant review for the Civil Service Commission and appointments for the Community Development Advisory Commission and the Zoning Board of Adjustment.
All right, thank you, Adrian. We'll start with the Civil Service Commission appointment. We have one 4-year term through April 6, 2026, and we have one applicant, Phil Baskerville. Is anyone here to address the council on this application? Anyone virtually?
No emails received.
Okay. All right, we'll move on then to the boards and commission appointments, please, Adrian.
So first, we have the Community Development Advisory Commission.
Okay. We have one 3-year term through February 15th, 2024. This is a vacant at-large term, and then one 3-year term through February 15th, 2025, and this is a vacant low to moderate income term.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Roussel.
I move to nominate Sasha Williams for the 3-year term through February 15th of 2024, the vacant at-large term.
Second by Frank.
All right, we have a motion by Roussel, second by Sprank. Adrian, would you call the roll, please?
Resnick.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Roussel.
Aye.
Farber.
Aye.
Sprank.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye. That motion passes 6-0. Sasha Williams is appointed to one 3-year term through February 15th, 2024. I'd entertain another motion for the other term.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Jones.
I move that Dominique Jeter be appointed to the low to moderate income position.
Second by Sprang.
We have a motion by Mr. Jones, a second by Mr. Sprank. Adrian, would you call the roll, please?
Resnick.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Roussel.
Aye.
Farber.
Aye.
Sprank.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Dominic Jeter is appointed to a 3-year term through February 15th, 2025.
Next is Zoning Board of Adjustment.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
I
Ms.
move that
Farber.
we appoint Bethany Golombowski for the 5-year term to the Zoning Board of Adjustment, which terminates in March of 2027.
Second by Roussel.
We have a motion by Ms. Farber, second by Ms. Roussel. Adrian, would you call the roll, please?
Resnick.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Roussel.
Aye.
Farber.
Aye.
Sprank.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Bethany Golombowski is appointed to 5-year term through March 25th, 2027.
We'll move on to public hearings. At this time, anyone participating in the meeting in person who would like to discuss one of the public hearing items, please plan to approach the podium when the mayor asks if there is any in-person input for the public hearing you would like to speak to. For all remote attendees, please enter your name and address in the chat function and state your question, or state your name and address over the phone when the mayor asks if there is any virtual input for the public hearing you would like to speak to. If more than one participant would like to speak, then city staff will determine the speaking order of the participants. And our public hearing for tonight is sale of city-owned property at 2247 Central Avenue.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Sprank.
I would like to receive and file and adopt the resolution, and of
Second.
course, welcome a new neighbor to my neighborhood.
I second.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Sprank and a second by Mr. Resnick. Mike, please.
Thank you. City Manager Mike Van Milligan. Housing and Community Development Director Alexis Stager is recommending City Council approval of a resolution approving the purchase agreement of 2247 Central Avenue to Armina Oda Basic in the amount of $162,000. I concur with the recommendation and respectfully request Mayor and City Council approval.
Thank you, Mike. We are in a public hearing to consider disposing of city interest in real property at 2247 Central Avenue in the city of Dubuque, Iowa. Is there anyone in chambers or virtually to address us on this item?
There are no virtual comments.
And no emails received.
All right, thank you. I'll bring it back to the table for any discussion. Seeing none, Adrian, would you call the roll, please?
Resnick.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Roussel.
Aye.
Farber.
Aye.
Sprank.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye, motion passes 6-0.
We will move on to public input. At this time, anyone participating in the meeting may address the city council on the action items on the agenda or on matters under the control of the city council. For all in-person attendees, please approach the podium and state your name and address. For all remote attendees, please enter your name and address in the chat function or state your name and address over the phone when the mayor asks if there is any virtual input. If more than one participant would like to speak, then city staff will determine the speaking order of the participants. Individual remarks are limited to 5 minutes, and the overall public input period is limited to 30 minutes. Under the Iowa Open Meetings Law, the city council can take no formal action on comments given during public input or that do not relate to the action items on the agenda.
All right, thank you, Adrian. Do we have any in-person public input here in chambers? Yes, come on up.
Good evening.
Hi.
Sorry.
And that desk actually does move down. There's a little switch there on the front.
Switch on the side.
Side.
We'll
Sorry.
get you going there. Yeah, we'd rather you be able to see us and we see you.
The height challenge.
Yeah, it's okay. And feel free to move that microphone if you like to.
Good evening. My name is Matt Nasuti. I live at 2410 Broadway. I sent each of the council members an email about why I was going to be here. I was hoping there was an item going to be on the agenda, but it's not. I try to run through this really quick. We have a problem on Broadway, and I've talked to the police department. Your department's great, and I have to tell you, you folks have just tied their hands. They can't do anything. They're amazingly inefficient, and it's not their fault. I'm sorry, it's your fault. The Iowa Code sets out a provision which this city council or its predecessor has rejected. It's a really, really good, simple procedure, very efficient. It allows the police to go and tow. They just go up there. After 24 hours, they can tow any vehicle that's not licensed or currently registered. Easy peasy. You've decided not to do that. You've decided to go to this red tag monstrosity. It works terribly. The officers they're just going in circles. I mean, it's designed to help the criminals. The criminals, I have to tell you, not to be offensive or anything, but they love you people because they know how to misuse the system and they can use it against you. So the police are just unable to just go out there and tow these things. They'll red tag them and then they'll move them and then they'll have to red tag them again. It is a terrible, terrible system. It's a simple fix. I've proposed to you a one-sentence addition to the city code to just pull in the Iowa code. It's the law every place else in this state, but here. And I mean, on my street, we have right now there's at least 4 cars, or 3 cars or 3 cars. There's trucks. They all have no license plates. They all have no registration. And I have to tell you, almost certainly they have no insurance. So they can go out, and this is going on, according to the police, all over the city. They can go on hit and runs. Doesn't matter, you'll never find them. They don't have plates. Even if you do catch them, they don't have insurance. It's a terrible problem. You're also losing revenue. But it's just a simple fix. I mean, you've created this monster. The monster works with lawful citizens because, you don't want to tow somebody if they're lawfully registered and they're just parking their car for too long or something like that. But the criminals use it. And unfortunately, the Dubuque Police Department is understaffed. You do not catch all of these people who are driving around without license plates and without registrations. It's not the department's fault. They're just overstretched. They don't have the resources. There is a way to fix it. Just go out there and tow these things. I mean, once you tow a couple of them, the criminals, I know these groups, they all talk to each other. You tow a couple, they're all going to get registered. They all know this. It's a simple fix. Again, you've created this monster. I want to tell you something that's not in my letter. One of your officers came up to me and he said, he's a really good guy. He said, I have to give you a warning. He said, we can't protect you. I said, what do you mean? He said, the criminals love the city council system. They're going to use it against you. They're going to use the police department against me for reporting them. I said, how are they going to do that? He said, they're going to start forcing the police department to issue you red tags. Whenever your car's parked more than 24 hours, they're going to report it and then tag your car. If you don't move it within 24 hours, my car gets towed. So the officer said, we can't prevent that. The criminals are going to use the department against you. That's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, you've turned over this city to them. And I don't get it. It's a real simple fix. I'm not asking you to invent something that's not used anyplace else. It's merely just to adopt Iowa code. I've asked for an alternative. I've asked you to approve an extra $1 million for the department's budget. If you're going to make them inefficient, you got to fund it. I don't know why you want them inefficient. You're losing revenue. You're losing registration revenue. The city's streets are a mess. You have all these illegal cars going on. There's no constituency that's going to oppose this, other than the criminals who love it. But here's the problem with this, Mr. Mayor, and I have to ask you this again, not to be offensive or anything, but I'll tell you my position, and it kind of applies to you particularly. I can't go on vacation. And you might think, what does that mean? I have to park my car in the street. If I take a trip someplace, I normally rent an enterprise car or something for a long trip. If I leave, the day I'm gone, this will be on my car. By the time I come back, my car will be towed. I can't go on vacation. And I'm going to say this, you're going to think it's absurd, but I know you live, I don't want to say where you live, I know you live not too far from here, and you probably have a driveway. I'd really like to be able to park my car in your driveway, because other than that, I can't leave it on the street and go on vacation. This is crazy. You've designed a system which just retaliates against me. These people on my street, they're kind of the mini Sopranos. Everything they do is either illegal or violent. They've threatened me, but they've done it without witnesses because they're smart. They verbally abused me. They curse me all the time. There's nothing I can do, So my proposal is not going to fix all of this, but it will at least, start the process going. So I know I'm probably over my time, but I really urge you to take a look at this. And I mean, every day you delay, there's more illegal cars on the street, more chance of people being injured. The police are just, I mean, there's a whole unit that just wastes its time going in circles. So again, sorry for extending my time, but thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nasuti. We appreciate your input, and we did receive your email. I've got the dated the 13th of March, so we have that as well. So thank you very much.
Can I park on your driveway?
I'm not going to address that with you right here. Thank you. But thank you for being here. Okay. Any other public input?
No virtual.
No virtual? Okay.
And no emails received.
All right. Then we can move along, Adrian.
We'll move on to action items, and action item number 1 is Greater Dubuque Development Corporation Quarterly Update.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Ms.
I
Farber.
move we receive and file and hear the presentation.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Farber and a second by Ms. Roussel. Rick, I see you're ready to go. You can take it away when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council, City Manager Mike Van Milligan, most excellent city staff. My name is Rick Dickinson. I have the pleasure of serving as the president of Greater Dubuque Development Corporation. And tonight, I'm here to provide my quarterly report. I reside at 205 Hill Street in Dubuque, and my office is located at 900 Jackson in the Millwork District. I apologize for rescheduling my report to you. I had a little bout with influenza A at your previous meeting, and I respect you enough that I didn't want to share the love. So you did allow me to reschedule to tonight, and I appreciate that. There's a lot that's been going on at Greater Dubuque since I last discussed our activities with you in January. Lots happened locally, lots happened globally. You know, in January, when we had a report, we didn't know where Omicron was going. It was runaway at the time, and certainly it has, thank goodness, subsided. Inflation had begun to raise its ugly head, but certainly it's taken off with a vengeance since, and we will have to deal with that as the year goes on and as the Fed deals with it themselves. And of course, even democracy and freedom in Eastern Europe is at risk and spilling over to what we do every day. And so the one thing that's constant is change. Well, we've been very active at Greater Dubuque Development. You heard earlier this evening at the work session, if you want something done, you don't send a troll. And so we sent David Lyons, who is about as professional as it gets, to discuss with you a tremendous challenge facing every community, but Dubuque in particular, and that is workforce housing. The ability to have that housing occur here in Dubuque, I think, is of paramount importance to the community, and it is going to require some creative and bold action from the council. I sent Dave because his explanation of the issue was much more generous than my own would have been, and I look forward to the next work session where solutions will be discussed for the mayor and council's consideration by the city manager and his staff. We have a number of things coming up in this following quarter, which I'd like to report, and I'll touch a little bit on what's happened in the last 3 months. We have a college fair, job fair, career fair, that will be on March 29th at the Grand River Center. Over 60 employers will be participating, and we've invited the talent from our institutions of higher learning from Wisconsin and Iowa to join us at that event. AccessDubuqueJobs.com, we had a workforce breakfast attended by over 180 workforce professionals, practitioners in our market to see the new AccessDubuqueJobs.com site. We've invested over $100,000 in that site in collaboration partnership with the TH Media folks. It has rave reviews from HR practitioners because the site is now uniquely easy to use both for the practitioner, the HR professional, and for the applicant. And it truly is a unique partnership between the TH and Greater Dubuque Development in having a community job board site, the #1 site used for recruiting in our market. Distinctly Dubuque classes started up again. We had a 2-year hiatus because of the pandemic. The first class was last Wednesday. We had folks from out of town, so we weren't able to have the mayor there as we normally do, and he was out in Washington, D.C. doing the Lord's work, I'm sure. But we did cover, and over 30 newcomers participated in that class where they meet other newcomers and better understand our community. That's one of 5 classes every Wednesday, and we do 4 classes throughout the year. And as the demand increases, and we believe that it will, we will provide additional classes, and we contract with Northeast Iowa Community College to provide the Distinctively Dubuque classes. We have a career services event in June. We invite career service staff from every institution of higher learning in a 200-mile radius of Dubuque to come to Dubuque and experience our community, to understand what opportunities exist here, to introduce them to new employers, and basically have a familiarity tour where they see what a great town this is. And you know what? If you pay attention to people who normally aren't paid attention to, they appreciate it. And they do convey the message about what a great place Dubuque, the greater Dubuque area, is to their graduates at those institutions of higher learning. We started within the last 3 months Work That Works, establishing a pilot with a dozen employers in our market and working with all institutions of higher learning to find jobs, part-time jobs that pay well for the students. It allows the students to work part-time and subsidize their income and perhaps fund their college education. It provides employers talent on a part-time basis, and they work closely with the colleges and the students to make sure that it doesn't interrupt the education that they're receiving at our institutions of higher learning. We believe this is not only a resource for employers to have a workforce and students to have income, but we hope eventually it'll be a recruiting tool for our institutions of higher learning to appeal to first-generation low and moderate income household students to come to Dubuque and see what a great opportunity they can have here through higher education. We recently completed the Levi study, which has been provided to the board of directors and to our investors broadly, and you should have received a copy of that. This was a survey conducted by Levi Architects of both the businesses and the providers of childcare, identifying what the greatest needs are so we can move forward in expanding childcare in our community to be better than any other community in the Midwest in providing the necessary service for workforce. We are working hard with our nonprofit and governmental agencies on point-to-point transportation for those low and moderate income households that lack transportation to have access to both education and work in what we call point-to-point transportation. And Jason White, our Vice President of Business Services, and Mandy Dolson, our Director of Workforce Solutions, focusing on workforce solutions and accessDubuqueJobs.com, and Nick Hockenberry, who is our point on all things related to governmental affairs, nonprofits, and higher education as it relates to workforce, are working on all of those programs. Our Business Retention and Expansion Program continues to be a leader in the country. Dan McDonald and his team, Rob Apple and Bill Baum, were recognized most recently by BEST, which is an organization of utilities in the state of Iowa focusing on business retention and expansion, reviewed all interviews in the state. The second largest number of interviews conducted was by the Des Moines Partnership, a 9-county area. They had approximately 110 interviews. Dubuque did 300. That shows you the intensity of the outreach we have in connecting to our business community and caring what's going on in the world, because we know that the mayor and the council of Dubuque and the other communities in our community care about these employers as well. In the future, I invite you all to join us on March 31st. That's a Thursday at 5:30 at Magnolia, formerly the Driftless, where we'll be kicking off our next 5-year capital campaign. And I'll give a teaser to the citizens of Dubuque. The title of the campaign is You Can Be Great Here. It doesn't make any difference if you're an individual, you're a family, you're a company. In the greater Dubuque area, you can be great here. And the mission in the next 5 years is to address those things that must be addressed for that to be true, not just today, but going forward. So without spoiling the event, I invite you and the business community and citizens of Dubuque to join us again at 5:30 on March 31st at the Magnolia at the corner of 10th and Jackson to find out more about our capital campaign, which funds Greater Dubuque Development Corporation. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the city manager and staff and the mayor and the council for their consideration of your investment in Greater Dubuque Development Corporation. We try to put the majority of the burden on the private sector. That's the way they want it, and I don't think you mind it either. But between the county and the cities in Dubuque County, they do provide less than 40% of our funding, and that 60% plus is provided by our private sector. We'll be announcing what our goal is and where we're at to goal on the 31st, and we hope to have the necessary funds raised by June 30th to make the campaign You Can Be Great Here, make sure that it has the funding necessary to be successful through June 30th of 2027. And that is my report, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
All right, well, thank you very much, Rick, for that report. Go ahead and open up for questions. You covered every detail, apparently.
Amazing.
So
thank you.
Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for the work that you do. All right, well, we have a motion by Ms. Farber and a second by Ms. Roussel to receive and file here the presentation. Adrian, would you call the roll, please?
Resnick.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Roussel.
Aye.
Farber.
Aye.
Sprank. Kavanaugh.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Action item number 2 is executed scope of services for update report for Five Flags Civic Center Scenario 4 Hybrid.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Roussel?
I move to receive and file and wait for the updated report at the April 18th meeting.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Roussel, a second by Mr. Jones. Mike, please.
Thank you. City Manager Mike Van Milligan. Leisure Services Manager Murray Ware is submitting the executed scope of services provided by CSL for an update report of the Five Flags Scenario 4 Hybrid at the request of the City Council. No action is requested at this time. The update report will be presented to City Council at the April 18th, 2022 City Council meeting.
All right, thank you, Mike. Any questions or discussion here? All right, well, we look forward to April 18th. It's something we've been waiting for a while, so thank you very much. We appreciate this. We have a motion by Roussel, a second by Mr. Jones. Adrian, would you call the roll, please?
Resnick.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Roussel.
Aye.
Farber.
Aye.
Sprank.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Action item number 3 is HACAP work session request.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Jones?
pending council members' availability, I move that we set the work session for Monday, May 2nd at 5:30 PM in these chambers.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Resnick. We all available? Enough? All right. And Adrian, would you call the roll, please?
Resnick.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Roussel.
Aye.
Farber.
Aye.
Sprank.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Action item number 4 is Four Mounds Foundation work session request.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Jones?
members' availability pending, I move that we set the work session for Monday, July 18th at 6:00 PM for the presentation on Four Mounds.
Second by Sprank.
Motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Sprank.
6:00 is correct, that's not a typo.
Correct.
I had 6:00 down for tonight, but I don't know where I got that. I imagine things sometimes.
That was a typo. All right, so 6:00 for this one. Has anybody even looked at their calendar in July yet? Okay, we should be good. Adrian, would you call the roll, please?
Resnick.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Roussel.
Aye.
Farber.
Aye.
Sprank.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Action item number 5 is City Life promotional video.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Roussel?
I move to receive and file and view the video.
Second by Farber.
Motion by Roussel, second by Farber. We are ready for the video, please.
So have you ever wondered what happens once you flush it and forget it? Well, with City Life, you get an awesome opportunity where you get tours like this over here at the Water Resource Recovery Center, where you can find out exactly what happens within your community after you flush. So City Life is a free program for citizens like yourselves to be able to get the opportunity of finding out exactly how does your city work, ask the questions that you've been wanting answers to, and also discover how you can actually get engaged and make a difference within your community. We take various tours where you get the opportunity of asking directors exactly how everything functions, and you also get a hands-on experience of seeing exactly how everything works. So I encourage you to sign up today, and you can sign up at www.cityofdubuque.org/citylife. Hope to see you there.
Sweet.
All right. That's great. What a great program City Life is. You know, we've had the opportunity, a lot of us, to be able to talk to folks that are going through City Life, and it is just, it gives you so much information about the city of Dubuque, and I couldn't think of a better spokesperson than Temwa for that one, so that's great. Any questions or discussion? Yeah, Mr. Jones.
Just a quick comment. You know, we heard a little bit about Distinctively Dubuque, which is GDDC and NICC's partnership to welcome newcomers to the community. And City Life is spectacular. And the Chamber also runs a program called Leadership Dubuque that covers just a lot of exposure to city government and how it works and building tomorrow's leaders. I've been to a lot of cities. I bet there's not another one that has all three of those things going on. And two of them externally driven. It's spectacular. Every one of them are super strong programs. And anybody that's watching this tonight should really look into the City Life program because you'll learn a ton of stuff. Cities are so diverse in task. The things that this organization is charged with, from getting your tap water to look like something you'd want to put in your mouth, to getting your wastewater taken care of, to putting out your fires and taking care of your heart attacks, and arresting your bad guys and picking up your trash with or without automated collection. There's just a ton of moving parts, and you can't even imagine all of them unless you take a class like City Life and start to open your eyes. So I highly recommend it.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. All right. We have a motion to receive and file, so Adrian, would you call the roll, please?
Resnick.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Roussel.
Aye.
Farber.
Aye.
Sprank.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0.
Next are council member reports.
Any reports tonight? Yes, Mr. Resnick.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank our five-star Dubuque Chamber of Commerce for bringing so many people together in Des Moines recently. It was great to see everybody. It's a significant thing to put together and arrange. It's all about engagement, and I was there, and there was a lot of great conversations going on at different tables about how we can partner with our city and the state legislature and others. Great cooperation of business, nonprofit, and government about how we move this community forward. So I wanted to thank our Dubuque Chamber of Commerce for that, and appreciate all the work they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Resnick.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, Ms. Farmer.
So on March 10th, I was honored to be a lecturer at the University of Dubuque in celebration of International Women's Day. And I lectured actually on women's economic empowerment. And it was organized by Student Government Association, and the participants, which primarily were men, by the way, was student empowerment classes that are requirement now at the University of Dubuque, the athletic department, and other interested students and many faculty. It was an interactive discussion on creating empowered personal pathways as these students were thinking about their personal as well as their professional career paths. And I really had a fun time with this discussion. And I just want to give a shout out to the UD because it's very important that students today, as they are gearing up for their professional careers, start to think about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the University of Dubuque is making that part of their curriculum. And then number two, I also was at Dubuque Night at the Chamber and just want to echo what Mr. Resnick said. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports? Well, in the spirit of partnerships, I'll let you know what I was up to last week. I wasn't able to make it to Dubuque Night, unfortunately, but I was able to be in Washington, D.C. last week for the National League of Cities Conference. And, you know, we had a slate of meetings set up that really, I mean, we really covered everything that we're talking about here in Dubuque. So, you know, we've talked a lot about the fact that we have a lot of federal funding coming our way. And the ability to be ready for that is what I heard over and over again at this conference. Making sure that we are ready to apply and making sure that we're ready to write the grants, making sure that we have our own personnel infrastructure in place to be able to get that done is extremely important. And after that week and having conversations that I did, I feel very good about where we sit with that. And I feel very good about the connections that we have to the departments that we need to be speaking with in Washington, D.C. So, and I was able to sit with both of our senators and our congresswoman and had some great conversations with them as well. So we're doing a good job of building partnerships here, and I commend us as a council for continuing in that. And I'm glad that we're able to do all these things that we're able to do because it's going to make this community a great place to continue to live and bring more housing to and all these things that we're talking about. So.
Mr. Mayor, I do
Yes,
one
Mr.
other
Jones,
thing.
yeah.
A week from tomorrow, the voters of the Fourth Ward are going to choose a person to sit in this empty chair over here. And we've got two young female, smart, professional women that want to have that job, and one of them's going to get it. So get out there and choose who.
Yeah. Thank you for that reminder, Mr. Jones. We appreciate that. We are lonely up here. We need a seventh member in our chair. So we're looking forward to next Tuesday, and we really hope that everybody will get out there and vote. Special elections are not high voter turnout, but we can change that. You just need to get out there and do it. And I think it's really important for the folks in the Fourth Ward to do that. So, all right. Well, with that said, we have no further business, so we are adjourned until tomorrow night.
Thanks, Brian.
Mute.